Beautiful Friday morning, and it's today in the news on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki, and I've started with Vanguard this morning. Vanguard's a major headline says INEC moves 2027 polls to January 16, or should Guba or August 15, 2026. You can see that on page 14. 2027, Atiku, Obi, Amaechi, Galadima, others reject electoral law. You can see that on page 5. And lastly, on Vanguard newspaper on page 19. FCCPC indicts airlines over inflated airfares during Utah. That's all on Vanguard. Away from that, we move to The Guardian. The Guardian's major headline says INEC ignores Electoral Act protest, shift to 2027 elections for Ramadan. You can see that on page 6. Over 100 terrorists stormed Benue villages, killed 150, witness tells courts. 2027 polls, Yoruba Ronu withdraws support APC, backs ADC. Bauchi governor says 10,000 well-armed bandits attacking communities. Commission documents 700,000 out of school children. And directly below the banner on Newspaper 3, report terrorist attack on Nigeria, Benue. Niger border rose by 262% in 2025. Lastly, on the Guardian newspaper, federal government insists on state police await legislative backing. You can see that story on newspaper 3, and that takes us to the Punch newspaper. Electoral Act, Senate rejects fresh amendment as Atiku, Obi, Amaechi push back. Opposition accuses APC of plotting against electronic transmission of 2027 poll results. Demand Electoral Act review. Presidency kicks. You can see that on page 2. FCCPC probes a fare fixing by local airlines. Over 200 men wielding AK-47 stormed Yewata. That's according to police witnesses. And Torbana. Bandits killed 29, abduct many in fresh attack. You can see that on page 7. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, INEC fixes January 16 for 2027 presidential poll. You can see that on page 7. And that takes us to the Nation newspaper. The major headline here says a presidential election holds January 16, governorship February 6, or should governorship poll August 15. INEC revises timetable and schedule. Key dates in the schedule. We have party primaries 23rd April to 30th of May 2026. Presidential National Assembly campaigns 19 August 2026 to January 15, 2027. Governorship, Houses of Assembly campaigns September 9, 2026 to February 5, 2027. And all dates are sacrosanct. You can see this story on the front page of the Nation, and it continues on page 6. Unions intensify protests of NAFDAC office over ban on sachet alcohol. You can see that on page 7. On top banner on page 2, we have Edu assures of improvement in payment system. Electoral Act 2026, Presidency, APC, fire back as ADC and NPP kick. Lastly, on the Nation newspaper, airlines face FCCPC sanctions for arbitrary reprisals. You can see that on page 26. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies. Join us after the break for a brief analysis of some of the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Today the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogun Ogunshaki. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has overhauled the schedule for the next general election, moving the presidential and National Assembly polls forward to January 16, 2027. The adjustment comes as a direct consequence of the repeal of the Electoral Act 2022 and the subsequent enactment of the Electoral Act 2026, which has fundamentally altered the statutory timelines governing Nigerian elections. In a statement released Thursday night in Abuja, the Commission explained that the new legal framework necessitated a complete review of the previously announced dates. National Commissioner and Chairman of the Formation and Voter Education Committee, Mala Mohammed, stated that the agency has now reviewed and realigned the schedule to ensure full compliance with the new legal framework introduced by the 2026 Act. And the shift in the general election calendar has also impacted off-cycle polls. The Commission confirmed that the Osun State governorship election, which was initially slated for August 8, 2026, has been moved to Saturday, August 15, 2026. And regarding the ongoing preparations for the Ekiti and Osun polls, the Commission noted that while some activities have already been concluded, the remaining activities will now be implemented strictly in accordance with the Electoral Act. And the conduct of party primaries, including the resolution of any arising dispute, is scheduled to begin on August 23rd, 2026, and must be concluded by May 30, 2026. And that the window for official campaigning is also clearly defined, with presidential and National Assembly campaigns set to kick on August 19, 2026, followed by governorship and state House of Assembly campaigns on September 9, 2026. And important dates are also included in this article, so you can always get these on our website. Now let's move away from that and quickly talk about this one, and still talking about the 2027 general election. Now, the Nigeria's leading opposition figures yesterday launched a coordinated political offensive against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his All Progressive Congress APC-led government, rejecting the newly amended Electoral Act 2026 and warned it could spark a democratic crisis ahead of the 2027 general election. Now, the coalition, which brings together some of the country's most prominent opposition voices, described the dispute over the electoral law as a critical test of Nigeria's electoral credibility. It called for urgent amendment to the law and urged citizens, civil society groups, and international community to pay close attention to what it termed a growing threat to democratic rule. And the position was contained in a statement read by Ahmed, the national chairman of the new Nigeria's People's Party, NNPP. And that's all on some of the stories. And of course, you can get it on our website, www.vanguardngr.com. And also, you can follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Have a lovely weekend.